have to identify with the black people. Just stop identifying with the nonsense because it's keeping you in a position where you'll never get out. They need you to fight black so that they can continue to be the 1% getting rich.
Exactly.
It's not working. It's
Right.
stupid.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
Get to talk to amazing people, and I want to welcome to the show a woman who was working in social work. She was a social worker, which means she has a heart for people. She wants to help people, and everything was good. And she thought everything was good with the country and the world. And then Hurricane Katrina happened, and it was like a veil was lifted, and she got to see two Americas play out in real time in Louisiana, and it shocked and chilled her spirit. And she's written a book about it. It is called Memoirs of an Accidental Abolitionist. Let me welcome Sharon Marie Chester to the Karen Hunter Show. Hello.
Hello, and thank you. And when I
Thank you.
introduce
Yes.
myself in these situations, I usually explain that I am a racially literate white social worker, and I can no longer be the person I once was, knowing that someone's child bled out today, waiting for white America to be coddled into its racial upbringing.
You had me at abolition. So
Yeah.
I already said I'm in. I wish I was saying to you off mic, I've been pondering why people identify with the brand of whiteness that is rooted because white is a made up construct. It is not a race. You're Polish, Irish, German, Swedish, French. You're not white. That is a construct that was developed to oppress,
That's correct.
to denigrate, right? So you have a choice to not lean in, and yet people identify
Privilege.
with oppress. Yeah, no, but there's
They
no
don't want to give up the privilege,
the privilege of what though,
the
Sharon? Because most
power.
white folk, there's no power. Most white people, or the poorest counties in this country, are predominantly white. They have no health care. They have no child care. They have no teeth. They don't make any money. They're the poorest in this country, and they're holding on to what exactly for what reason? What are they gaining?
Because they would rather identify with the rich people. Tim Wise said this: the rich people on St. Charles Avenue than the black people in the Ninth Ward, which they have a lot more in common with. But
Well,
they want
they
to
don't have to
identify.
identify. Well, yeah, I'm saying you don't have to identify with the black people. Just stop identifying with the nonsense because it's keeping you in a position where you'll never get out. They need you to fight black so that they can continue to be the 1% getting rich.
Exactly.
It's not working. It's
Right.
stupid. And I said they have a choice. They can identify with John Brown. Okay, that's too radical. Charles Sumner, Thaddeus Stevens. Like if instead of the founding fathers who were rapists and like you, and most people didn't own people. So why do you want to identify with the enslavers? I don't understand that.
Listen, I could have saved 1,000 more if only they knew they were oppressors. You know, they they
Okay, I
they
see
like
you.
to keep this little blinders on that say, and I have a joke and I say, okay, repeat after me. I'm a good person. I'm a good person. Good people can be or racist, but I'm a good person. I can't get past that. You know,
Okay.
just because you are a good person doesn't mean you don't lean into racist narratives. And that's one of the things that I open in my book is talking about white speak. And that's what I call when white people use framing to perpetuate narratives that are oppressive under the color of virtue signaling. It's white speak, and you need to learn to understand that language. And a lot of black people even catch on to that before white people do, because it's like, oh, for example, all lives matter. Well, that sounds very virtuous, blah, blah, blah. And we all know that that's white speak. That's framing for keeping black people oppressed. So
Ma'am, I saw somewhere, well, actually in Nubia, shout out to Zan, that you have a tattoo of BLM on your arm. Is that a real tattoo? Like, is that ink? Ink?
Please. We don't all do Boo Boo Kitty. No, yeah, it's real. I can't
Well,
unloose
so
it.
you went in and got. I mean, y'all. It's like block letters. Okay,
Yeah.
this she didn't get a
Yeah.
little delicate. She didn't get a
No.
little delicate script. You don't have to. I believe you. I believe
Yeah,
she's
it's
showing. She
big.
lifted
It's
up her
big.
shoulder. Yeah, she got it in giant block letters on her arm, covering the bicep and the tricep area. BLM. That's a commitment, which I can
Let me tell you how
appreciate.
I got there. You know why
Okay.
I got a tattoo? Because I used to wear an armband every day, everywhere I went, BLM armband, right? I had a client and he said, came in one day and he goes, listen, my wife really wants to continue our sessions, but she asked if you would please remove the armband. So I did. I went and got a tattoo. So they can't tell me to
Okay.
remove that because,
Okay.
there's performative and then there's performing. You got to perform. And this is not a
Mm,
fight that belongs between white people. This is a fight that belongs between white people. It
right.
does not should not fall upon the oppressed to lift the rock of what we are doing, off of you.
I agree. I agree. And listen, I think we have decided we're not going to. I think we have decided collectively, spiritually that yeah, no, we're not going to be out there too much. This is for y'all to figure out.
That's right.
You did this overwhelmingly. 92% of black women did not. Almost 80% of black men did not cast a vote for where we are right now. And
Yep.
basically, you're casting a vote for more oppression of other people. We didn't buy into that. The majority of white people did, especially white women. Shame on y'all because oh,
Yeah.
you're the ones that are going to suffer the most. Like affirmative action going away, that hurts you. Yes, it hurts us, but it hurts you. Y'all disproportionately were benefiting from it. Reproductive rights going away, they want you barefoot and pregnant. They don't want us to have children at all. So y'all going to be in
That's right.
marriages and relationships you don't want to be in. Sorry for you getting your asses beat, having babies you don't want to have. And oh, y'all voted for
You know,
this.
B. Richards' work? B. Richards?
The actress?
Yes. She did this.
Yes.
She did this. Thus Speaks a Black Woman. It's on YouTube. And she says, white women are so complicit. I love how she put white women wear bloodied skirts. And they said, well, they killed us off. They tainted you. They gave you pearls and pretended that they, raised you to these spiritual purist ideals. And actually, you were just another slave. But we
Yes.
buy into it.
Listen, you couldn't own property until black people, black men and women fought for civil rights and won. That was the entree for you to be able to own property, to have a bank account, to be able to get divorced, to be able to even charge your husband with abuse or rape. That was on the backs of our liberating everybody, which
Yes.
is the case. So it's weird to me that here we are. But for you, and this is what I always want to know, Sharon. Marie Chester is here. Her book is Memoirs of an Accidental Abolitionist. Take us back to that Damascus moment for you where you were like, I have to do something.
Okay. It was after Katrina. I ended up in a trailer park. I had an RV that I had just got, and ended up in this trailer park with 165 other trailers. And I was a social worker. So I'm out there I went around to every single trailer and I took assessments. Like, do you need medicine? Do you have family members missing? I started organizing. Well, at one point, the one of the grunt workers from FEMA came to me and said, listen, I know FEMA came to you and asked you to triage your worst case families that you've been working with, but I heard that Mayor Copeland does not want Black people in the FEMA trailers. His
What?
FEMA trailers, his FEMA. And honestly, I'm going to tell you what I did. I laughed. I thought it was a joke. He did not laugh. I could not believe my ears. I called the FEMA guy, my connection that night, and I said, I need to meet with you because, you know, the white mayor heard that I started making inquiries. Like, is it true this could be a racist issue? Because I've been given this responsibility by FEMA to be sending them people. And they kind of shrugged it off. So that night I got a phone call from that mayor, and he said, I heard that you were going around calling me a racist. You are never going to work again another day in your life. I'm taking
Wow.
your name to Washington. You don't know what you just did. I said, listen, I don't know what I just did, but I'll tell you, I heard a rumor that you didn't want Black people in the FEMA trailer. I asked around, nothing came of it, and I dropped it. He goes, you don't have the right to ask that question in my town. I said, I am a social worker. I have a responsibility to ask that question in your town. And we started a fight you wouldn't believe. So that was my hello. This is the 1950s. This is not the America you thought. And as a social worker, I was 50 years old when my eyes were open. 50.
Wow.
To me, racism was a side item like poverty, unemployment, homelessness, racism. No, I did not see racism is the reason that some people are homeless,
And poor.
in
Yeah.
poverty,
Yeah.
unemployed, blah blah blah. So yeah, that
S-
was my
So how were you
tirade.
able take us on your journey in terms of being raised to get to 50 and never having to really deal with the reality of the foundation of this country. This country was born and rooted in
Yeah,
racial divide.
white people are so protected from the truth. Whenever the water hoses, that was during my lifetime. I never knew anything about water hoses for many decades, but it was like, well, didn't you have a TV when you were 9 years old? Yes, but you think my white parents were going to let me watch that on television?
Ah.
No,
Mm.
I'm sure I was just shielded from all that. I mean, and when you look how insidious it is, I mean, look at the color of band-aids. What is the message that we used to be telling children when the only band-aid there is belongs to white children? It says you are deviant. You are not, you don't belong. You
You
just are.
you know what though? What's wild about that? I never considered that band-aids were white people colored when I had a boo-boo. I just needed a band-aid. It
I know,
never
but I think
dawned
it's
on
so
me that
unconscious.
it didn't match my skin color because I thought band-aids were just that color. I didn't know it was to match the skin to blend in. It never dawned on me. And no one ever talked about it.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I remember looking for a tree topper for an angel my children were already born. So I couldn't find a black one. I could not find a black angel for your child. So I bought one, I painted it black, and I stuck it up there. I couldn't find a black Raggedy Ann or Raggedy Andy when my children were little. So I made them, but we're just so things started to change. And here we are now with this president.
Yeah, thank you. Sharon Marie Chester is here, accidental abolitionist. So you were shocked that this guy was racist. So then it led you to do what besides write this book? What
Well,
was the action,
oh
actually?
Lord, there's been a lot of actions. I've been to the Supreme Court over a racist. I got kicked out of an office because I have that eracism banner. Have you ever seen that? It's red, white, and blue. It says
Yes, yes,
eracism, all colors with love and respect. Well, I
right.
put that I put that in my office window, and I had been renting there for 2 years, never had a problem. And all of a sudden, the landlord's knocking on the door, and I said, "Hey, Frank, how you been? What's up?" He goes, "Yeah, I have a problem with that sign." I said, "What could possibly be the problem with that sign?" He said, "Well, black people can't read.
What?
They're gonna oh, it goes better. Black people can't read. They're gonna see
What?
erase. Yeah, girl. They're gonna see racism from the street. They're gonna think you're a racist. They're gonna firebomb my building, and I need to worry about the other tenants." Yes, ma'am. I said, "Okay, I'll tell you what." So I said, "Okay." He goes, "And you can, by the way, take it down," which I didn't. Um, so basically, he said, "I'll tell you what I did. I went out and bought firebomb insurance." He goes, "I checked it
What?
out." He said, "I checked it out. It's only 300 or 400 a month." I said, "I'll get back to you, Frank." I went and bought the firebomb insurance. It's apparently they don't firebomb social workers that often, so it was only $179 for the year, which was well worth every penny to make my point, Frank. So I get the firebomb insurance, and I gave it to him on a piece of eracism stationery. It says, "Dear Frank, good to go. I checked with all my black friends and told them you wanted a $500,000 firebomb insurance policy, and they bought me $1 million firebomb insurance policy. But they said not to worry. They don't know anyone that's stupid." He physically threw me off the property. His son physically threw me off the property. And let me tell you,
Wow.
NAACP just had a brand new chapter installed here within months before that happened. And I kept trying to contact the NAACP, and I said, Channel 6 is on the way to film this guy throwing me off his property because I won't take my racism banner down. And you know, this new guy, and I'll tell you, I have problems with black pastors. I'm going to tell you that. He says he heard I was this crazy little white lady and he wouldn't support it. So it didn't get aired. But yes, but I took the landlord to the Supreme Court. Oh, let me tell you why I lost.
What? Oh, okay. I was going to ask you how did it turn out.
I lost, you know, because he evicted me for BS reasons. You know, I have a civil right to advocate for black people. You know why I lost at the Supreme Court? Because the judge said that only having 30 to 40% of my clientele as people of color does not justify my advocating for them.
So it needs to be more than 50%?
It needs to be one.
Okay.
In my profession, it needs to be one.
Right.
If I have one
Right.
person in my
Right.
practice, I have.
I know.
Oh yeah.
So,
No, it was bull.
okay.
It was bull. It was a racist.
Right. So it must be more difficult for you now. You're still social working. Is that how
Yes.
we say this? Okay.
Yes.
Sharon Marie Chester is here. Her book is Memoirs of an Accidental Abolitionist. She is about that life. She literally has a BLM large tattoo on her arm. For you, where we are now, with the rule of law being thrown in the trash, with a regime that is targeting people, erasing history, reversing, like firing very competent, very well educated black women in particular, 300,000 have lost their jobs in the last 8 months.
For
Uh,
mediocre white men.
yes, as I was looking at the stage today, the press conference, I was like, oh, just a
Yeah.
bunch of horrible people who
Yeah.
are not good at anything. What's the solution here? I know midterms is the only, the last chance we may have, because I don't even know if that's going to be a free and fair election. I don't know, with all of the threats
Right.
of National Guard
Right.
descending upon the different cities around this country. What do you say
Okay.
to this?
Well, we got a lot to do, and voting is one thing. One thing. But again, white people, get my book, because it says these are all the things. Show up at the board meetings. Like they pretended they were going to look at changing the name of Andrew Jackson School here, invited the public in. The alumni, over 90% of the alumni was in favor of a name change. I was shocked. I live in a very, very deep red area. And but I knew, and I did stood up and give my 3 minute spiel. And I said, this is a farce, isn't it? You have no intention of changing the name, do you? You're just putting one more racist stain on this already racist parish, you know, and that's the way. But you got to show up for that. Ray Garofalo, the guy who introduced the anti-CRT to our children bill, he knows me personally. He calls me a Marxist. I call him a white supremacist. You got to get in there and get dirty. When they go low, I'm going to hell. Because, girl, this is where it's going. It's getting bloody. This is revolution material.
All right. So they do call you nutty though, Sharon. Because you're not acting like a normal, demure, mindful white woman. What how do you what do you what
Listen,
do you say to that?
I get called a racist all the time. You know what I say? I can't be a racist. I have
Wait,
white
they call you a
friends.
racist
Yes.
for standing up standing against racism?
I said I can't be a racist. I have white friends. My niece
Oh,
married a
that's
black man.
hilarious.
How could I be?
Okay. Oh,
You
that's
got to get your
hilarious.
clapback game
Yeah.
up, you know,
Yeah.
because these people are, and if you can't enlighten them, marginalize them. I have gone after people's jobs, and that's what we need to do. We need to go after people's jobs. You know, we need to stay vocal. You need to stay out there. You need to stay, it's local. Politics is local.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
positionality, you know, I don't know if you skimmed my book, but my introduction to this also was I got this job um, working to develop programs at a upper elementary school. It turned out it was all black, and I walked in and went, "Oh my God, this really belonged to a black person. This job, you know." And I put out a letter to 120 local leaders, you know, stakeholders in our children's future. And a black man, Emerson, God love him, he's my best friend now. But he said, "Oh, here's one more white woman stealing another black job." He got me fired. Emerson got, but it took me 3 weeks to get fired from that job because they did not approve of me meeting with Black leadership without either an escort or a script. Oh, read the book, hon. Yes, I was not allowed to leave
Wow.
because they found out I was supporting I was starting a Black father support group. And they did not think Black men should be meeting off campus without Caucasian supervision. Bang, that got me fired there. So,
Oh.
but anyhow,
What's what
if it wasn't for
what's
the Black community has to give me, street cred because the
right?
white people are fighting over
No.
who has it right.
Yeah,
If
you're
I
not
don't have
coming
this
to the
right,
cookout already. I'm just like, this is too soon. We need, it's okay. Well, I appreciate that, but that's not enough. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate what you're doing, but it's not enough. Ultimately, yes, I would love everybody who is melanemic, as Jane Elliott would call you, or palm colored or what have you, people who are not melanin rich to read your book. And then I want people to do something. It's not enough. Can you stick around? Because I want to posit this to you. The fact that your parents wouldn't let you watch what was going on during the civil rights movement is the privilege, because 3/4 of white people self-segregate. They're in their little cul-de-sacs and their enclaves and their trailer parks, and they don't have any relationship, but they have a lot of opinions about people they do not know,
yes,
and those opinions lead them to vote the way they just did, and it's hurting them.
yes, it is.
Is there a succinct way that we can get them? Because I don't see movement happening. I saw the pussy hats after Trump got elected the first time, and I wasn't buying it then. I was like, y'all are
Um,
full of crap, because when it comes down to it, you're always going to vote your pappies and your sons. You're always going to do that, and your husbands. How do we really codify your message and make a difference?
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will